President, Conference, Roy Rickhuss, Community, moving motion to save our steel. Since Conference last met, we've seen more turbulence in our industry, more change, more restructuring, more challenges for us to overcome. Ever since the 2015 tragedy of SSI in Teesside, we've been in crisis mode, and it certainly feels to our members that the crisis has never gone away. Since then, we've been fighting for the survival of steelmaking in this country. Together, the steel unions, Community, Unite and GMB have campaigned hard to save our steel. By coming together, working together, we've lobbied at every level for government to deliver for our industry. We will not stop until we are competing on a level playing field, but we are a very long way from where we need to be. Prices we pay for electricity are now double that they pay in France, and business rates can be 10 times more than they pay in other parts of Europe. And we're suffering from a lack of investment. The steel industry needs a lot of investment, and that's needed to make our plants competitive. By their own figures, government procuring just 43% of the steel it uses in public funded projects from the UK is a complete and utter disgrace. We now have new macro challenges to face. Trump's steel tariffs have compounded problems of global overcapacity and led to a new climate of trade protectionism. And then there's Brexit. The abject failure of our politicians to resolve Brexit is destroying our manufacturing base. Not a week goes by without announcements of job cuts or plant closures. The steel industry needs certainty, but above all, we must avoid a no-deal Brexit, which would mean new duties and friction at borders, making our steel more costly and less competitive. British steelworkers have faced many challenges, and unfortunately, there is more to come. Many of you will know of recent developments at Tata Steel and British Steel, the biggest employers in the sector. In May, the merger discussions between Tata Steel and Germany's ThyssenKrupp collapsed. And they collapsed due to their failure to agree a remedy to a competition issue we all knew was going to be a problem years ago. We told them often enough, but they didn't listen, and they had no plan B. We now have concerns that Tata will attempt to pursue a short-term cost-cutting approach that could be devastating. And just last week, Tata announced the crushing news that they intend to close the Orb Works in Newport, South Wales, which is the UK's only electrical steel plant and employs nearly 400 highly skilled workers. We will not accept the closure of this vital, strategic business, and we are ready to fight for the future of the Orb. It makes no sense at all to let the only plant we have that can make electrical graded steel to close, just when that steel is going to be needed more than ever for electric car production. Then, on the 22nd of May, came the news that British Steel had gone into liquidation, a devastating blow for the workforce and all those who depend on British Steel for their livelihoods. 25,000 jobs placed in the balance, whole communities fearing for their future. Since the announcement, the unions have been working closely with all stakeholders to secure a new future under the right ownership. Last month, we reached an important milestone when Atea were confirmed as preferred bidders. They are now in a due diligence process and could conclude a deal shortly. Congress, we know British Steel is a great business, making world-class products with the most committed workforce that there is, who even now, under these circumstances, are breaking all production records. There's no doubt that British Steel can have a bright future, and we need all stakeholders to support the union's campaign to secure the business. Secretary of States, ministers and even Prime Ministers have stood at the dispatch box and said you cannot have a successful manufacturing sector without a successful steel industry at the heart of it. Now's the time to follow warm words with real action get back around the table, secure the steel sector deal we've demanded and has been stalled for too long. Steel is our past, our present, and will be our future. We're going to have to fight for it, and we will. Together, we will save our steel. I move the motion.